guys, welcome back to the channel. So I've received quite a few messages from folks about the supercharger. You know, how is it at this point? How's it working? Have I had any issues? What's my impression? So I thought I'd put together a quick 3-month video. So it was 3 months ago that I installed the supercharger, and if you would like to see that video, go ahead and hit that like button down there in the corner, or that subscribe button, and go check out my other YouTube videos. I have the videos for installing the supercharger and a ton of other videos working on my Cadillac CTS that may help you out in resolving issues or how to install certain components on your car. But back to this right here. So far the supercharger has been great. Really haven't had any issues with it, but I will go over with you just a couple of things that I like to highlight. All right, so for the first thing I'm going to need to start up the engine for, and I'll show you this little trick here. So as you know, if you have a check engine light on, or if you have the door open, or if you have, say, the hood open, you can't start the car using the remote start, right? But if you have your hood open, you need to use your remote start to go ahead and start your engine. What you need to do is make the car think the hood is down. To do that, if you look right here, you see this little section right here? This right here is touching that, making it think the hood is up, which it is, right? So if you want to make it like it's down, you want to just move the latch, right? So what you're just going to do here is just push this on down, which, yeah, I can push it from here actually, which is going to take that, it takes a lot of strength on that, and lock it in place. And now it's not touching this right here anymore. See that, how it moves? So now the car will think the hood is closed, and you'll be able to use your remote start to start the car. So the reason I want to do that is because one of the things I needed to change after I had this, after I installed this, was that so we have our power steering reservoir over here now, right? And had to run new tubing for it. And the tubing that runs along right here, as you can see right here, and it goes down there, was one piece at that point, originally. So it was a 90-degree turn going down there. And so what was happening was that the 90-degree turn, even though I thought I had it out far enough, it was still a slight bend in it. And when the power steering fluid got warm, or hot that is, it made the tubing that much more flexible or easy to collapse. So what's happening was that 90-degree was almost collapsing all the way down, and it was restricting the amount of fluid what was getting through. Now, I wouldn't have really caught that, but there was a noise that was happening that I thought was associated with the supercharger, and it wasn't. The supercharger, even as it says in the manual, is that it will sound kind of like one of those rock tumblers. You know, you get those rocks that you find at the beach or whatever, those little bitty ones, and you can put rocks in there and then they tumble around to make them shiny. They said it would kind of sound something like that, which it did, but it was a bit louder and a bit annoying than I anticipated. What it turns out was that that noise really wasn't coming from here. It was coming in regards to the power steering, and I'm gonna let you hear that noise, and I'll tell you what I did to resolve it. So first, let me start this thing up, okay? It's kind of windy out today, so hopefully the sound is able to be picked up pretty good. That is the sound that I was having. So now I'll turn the engine on and tell you what I did to resolve it. All right. So what I did to resolve it, I ended up just ordering off of Amazon. I think I paid like $3-4 for this. A 90-degree elbow, and I just cut the holes over here And so I just did a 90-degree down here, so I have to worry about that collapsing. So if you're ever looking to install it, you may want to go ahead and just do that right off the bat. Just go ahead and install yourself a 90-degree, and then so you don't have to worry about that ever becoming an issue. There's one other thing I want to bring up. So I know people are wondering, hey, what happened to the Stage 2 kit? Why haven't you installed the Stage 2 kit? So I wasn't able to install the Stage 2 kit because I was chasing a high negative fuel trim issue that was going on. They tuned the car. Negative fuel trim was negative 25, negative 30. I think at one point I even reached as high as close to negative 50s, which is really, really bad, right? And so I was being told that there was a bad air leak someplace, a huge air leak. So I went through here, checking out everything. I went in and even changed the upper and lower plenum gasket. I changed out the valve cover gaskets. I changed the gaskets out up in here. I had someone else, a friend of mine who works on cars, went all through the system and checked. I did a smoke test on here. I couldn't find a leak anywhere. So I was getting really doubtful that was that. And I definitely checked the oil catch can too to see maybe that's where the leak was coming, but the smoke test helped to prove out that wasn't an issue. All right, so I'm gonna try to walk through this, and I'm slow, so forgive me here. So if I have high negative fuel trims, that's essentially the ECE saying, hey, there's too much fuel going on up in there. So what I want to do as the ECM, the brain of all of this, I want to take away some of the fuel. So I'm going to start reducing the amount of fuel that's being dumped up in there, and that's going to create that negative fuel trim. So that's really saying, hey, I'm getting too much fuel for some reason. Now, if I had a vacuum leak, I think it would go the opposite way. It was the ECM was like, hey, there's a vacuum leak up in there. We have too much air getting up in there, so we need to compensate by dumping more fuel up in there to compensate for that vacuum leak. So that will give me a high positive fuel trim. So at that point, I decided to stop looking for a vacuum leak. I'm starting to think, okay, maybe there's something else. So for one, my fuel injectors are original, all right? And so he was like, okay, maybe you got bad fuel injectors, dumping fuel up in there. But here's the thing. The high negative fuel trim was even on both sides of the engine. Same amount over here. It was a negative 25 over here, was negative 25 over here, was negative 30 over here, was negative 30 over here. So it is extremely high unlikely that my fuel injectors on this side and that side are both behaving in the same bad way, non-performing way, right? That both sides went bad, and it went bad doing the exact same thing. So that couldn't be it. Whatever it was, it would have to be something that wasn't centralized, like an issue on this bank or an issue on that bank with something. It would have to be something that's centralized, right? And so I was lost at that point. But then a gentleman on the forum, he reached out to me, and after he saw the video, and he was like, hey, let me try to see if I can help you out. So I sent him everything I had, and he did a tune for me. Thank you very much. He did it for me for free. And he did a tune for me, sent it back to me, and I put it up in here, and bam, everything was beautiful. Now, he told me what he believed the issue is, and I have no reason to doubt him because he resolved my issue. But his reasoning, what he says what was wrong, kind of points to the original bass tune that was given to me. And because I'm not an expert in that field, I don't want to get in the middle of debating on what was and was not. So I'll just say that gentleman helped me out and gave me a tune that actually resolved the issue. And if any of you guys disagree, because trust me, I'm not trying to be an expert up here. I'm just telling you what I think I know. So if you disagree with me about how the fuel trim levels work as far as negative versus positive and what's causing it, definitely put it down in the comments, because I'm always looking to learn more, And I think we should, you know, just circulate that all through the community, share all that information to help everybody out. So again, I'm not trying to be the expert up here. I'm always willing to listen to other people's opinions. So definitely put them down there in the chat. So now that I have a good tune on here, what I'm going to do now is, my next plan now is to go ahead and install the Stage 2 kit. Now the Stage 2 kit, you may ask me, what exactly is that and what do you get with it? Stage 2 kit is basically to increase the amount of fuel that's being delivered to the system to help to give you more horsepower. With that, you're going to get new fuel injectors. You're going to get a new high pressure fuel pump, which is located back there in the rear. You're going to get a new fuel pump for the gas tank. And don't let me forget that also with the Stage 2, you also get a smaller pulley on here too. So that will also require changing out the belt as well. And so what I'm planning on doing is installing that soon. And what you guys can look forward to after I put the Stage 2 kit on, and I go back to my gentleman and have him tune it up again with the Stage 2 kit, I'm going to go ahead and do some dyno pulls on here, so you guys can see what type of HP is being produced on there, what type of torque is being produced on here. So if you guys like the video, definitely hit that like button, and definitely go ahead and hit that subscribe button and check out those other videos. Thanks a lot, everyone.